Welcome to the Women's Agency Podcast, where we talk business, life, and empowered women. The show is brought to you by the Women's Agency, amplifying women's voices. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Arlia. And I have all my guests are special, but I'm particularly excited about this guest today. We have mutual friends. I have been in her containers, experienced her work, and she's made quite the impression on me. Her work's been transformative for me. And I see a lot of similarities with her. If you could get beyond the silver hair, we're both business women. And the particular beautiful thing I like about my guest, Lisa Erickson, is that she blends her personal belief system, her spirituality in her work. And to her, they are one thing because it's all her. But this is the Women's Agency work. So we're going to talk about her work and how she got into it. And I'm going to start by telling you about her. Lisa Erickson is a remarkable figure in the holistic migraine relief industry and an innovative AI expert. Known for her brand Migraine Magic, Lisa leverages her background as a transformational coach and migraine expert to provide comprehensive relief solutions. She combines nervous system recalibration, proprietary remedies, and deep energetics to offer immediate pain relief and address the underlying causes of migraine. Her treatments are specifically tailored for professional women suffering from chronic migraines, and I know of quite a number of them. So her work is very needed. Her groundbreaking work has been featured in prominent publications such as Glamour, Women's Day, and Elle, establishing her as a leading expert in holistic migraine relief. Inspired by her own and her daughter's struggles with chronic migraines, Lisa created her brand with a personal mission to help all women feel migraine-free. In addition to her expertise in migraine relief, Lisa is also fascinated with AI, as am I. She recently launched her AI biz agency, the AI Channel, which achieved $35,000 in sales within just 3 months. And she is in the middle of publishing her GPT book, Limitless AI, the Holy Grail of Rejection-Proof and Prosperous Prompts. Her passion for AI, combined with her holistic approach to health, positions her as a pioneer at the intersection of technology and wellness. Lisa Erickson, welcome.
Thank you, Arlia. This is fun.
At the intersection of technology and wellness, I just love that. I just love that. Seems to be uniquely who you are.
Yes, it is. And perhaps it was always that way. I just didn't have the AI technology piece yet, because even though it's been around for 30 years, not in a way that it's like user friendly for us, in the way that it's just changed our whole evolution going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, as we speak, it's changing daily, hourly. It's amazing.
Like today, I just literally, because of AI, I just literally published that Holy Grail of Prompts, which has one of the same master prompts that I use in the accelerator to help build, and you know these people, right? It sounds ludicrous, but to help build 9 women's businesses in terms of being the CEO of the business, build the whole business out for 9 women in 3.5 hours. That is the power of AI, but AI combined with knowing how to ask the right questions, which comes with knowing certain things about business. So it's very much an integration of the last 10 years of me being in business from myself with the migraine remedy, and then evolve with it and knowing how to put that business sense to use behind the AI. So I've gotten really good at making a lot of mistakes and then knowing what questions to ask to
Mhm.
really get the biggest bang for my buck.
Okay. I have about 1,000 questions.
Shoot.
We're going to get to your story in a moment. But since we're starting with the AI, a lot of people are very afraid of it. Why do you
Mm.
think that is? Tell me why you're not.
Okay, so I understand why people are like, oh, some other thing to learn, because I was like that until 2.5 years ago. And probably shouldn't tell this story, but it's the truth. So I have 4 children, 3 are boys, 1 is a girl. And 2 out of my 4 boys, they have consciousness, they have a consciousness. And when they do something that they feel some kind of way about, some kind of guilt or whatever, nothing big, just stupid stuff. They have a habit of walking by me and just dropping it as they walk by. And if I pick it up, I pick it up. If I don't, but I've developed a filter. Like with 4 children, I've developed a filter. There's so much going on, especially when they were little. They're a little bit older now, but there'd be so much going on that I have this maternal filter
Mhm.
where I can hear what they're not saying.
Okay, so let's get the visual here. They would walk by you and say something, or you would just pick up on their
No,
inner.
they would say something, like
Uh-huh.
something was going on, that there was they felt an internal kind of way, and maybe they actually didn't feel bad about it, but they knew it was wrong out of integrity. For example, one of my sons walked by me, and it took me a day till I caught it, but I didn't know what he was talking about. So he walked by me, and he just mentioned something about cheating with some artificial intelligence. Those weren't his words, but that was the undertone.
Mhm.
He knew it was wrong. So before I came to him, I investigated. I don't even, it was the equivalent of the Cliff Notes that we had, or maybe we didn't have it, but I never used them. But it's the equivalent of Cliff Notes a million X,
Mhm.
right? And when nobody had any idea, including the teachers, about AI, because now I can spot it a mile away. Before I came to him, I wanted to come correct and knew what I was speaking to. And so that was 2.5 years ago. And when I got in there, Alia, oh my God, like without knowing, I just knew. I just saw this landscape and I was like, this is not going anywhere, because it just provides so much ease
Mhm.
when you know how to work with it, which is, I think it's simple. And actually, when you get into it, you can see it as well.
But there are a lot of people who are afraid of it.
I don't blame them,
Yeah,
because they
because
just
of
don't
its
know.
potential for harm.
I think that's on the individual. I really do, because AI is neutral.
Mhm.
It really is neutral. And people who are predisposed to making not so great decisions and doing bad things are going to do it with whatever's in front of them. And AI is just part of the bucket. But
Mhm.
I personally see how it can save people. Like that prompt I gave you, and I'm like, "How many days did that just save you?" And you're like, "Probably a week."
Absolutely. I feel like it's my new assistant. Like, it's
Mhm.
an extra brain. It helps fill in the missing pieces of my brain, such as sometimes the strategy and the organization, or a simple workflow, right? I say simple, but it is
Yeah.
a simple workflow that says, "Okay, this is the structure I need to move my creative in which to move my creativity forward." It's been really amazing.
So I had a few clients, and I was trying to figure out, I knew they needed to know this just for personal use. Forget business, if you need it for business, because it'll save you thousands of dollars in hours. I can't say it enough. And she was really hesitant. And then I don't know, she must have texted me or something, and her water heater broke. So I was like, good, this is what you do, because nobody wants to call the guy to come fix or replace something for $2 to $5 grand. Everybody thinks they're going to get taken, because sometimes they do. So I said, okay, here's a prompt. Put this in and ask ChatGPT, because that's what I use, and that's the foundation of all the AI. I said, ask it to troubleshoot 5 different ways to make sure you actually need a new water heater. And it gave her 5 plain as day actionable steps. And she checked them all. And then when she got to step 5, she was a lot more comfortable in calling the guy and shelling out that money. No one likes to shell out money for stuff like that. And even another one, I was like, I don't know what to cook tonight. I'm like, well, just get on ChatGPT, tell it what you have, and ask it to give you a delicious recipe.
Okay, I hadn't even thought of that. Like sometimes the suggestions are like, help me plan my next vacation, but that's the eternal question of any householder. What are we making for dinner?
Yeah, I don't feel like you can and the way I teach it, there is some structure, but then once you get the structure, you just train yourself to ask it what you're actually thinking. And nobody else teaches it like that.
That was revolutionary for me when you said that, because first of all, you've taught this, and I've heard other places be very polite. It's you treat it like a relationship, but you treat it like a relationship. So you engage in conversation, and then it becomes this back and forth of if it can't help you if you don't tell it what you're needing. And I just thought it's so simple and revolutionary in a way to really fully engage with it.
And even just to bring energetics here for a minute, and people will be like, I don't even see how this is possible, but you can't until you get in and start playing with it. But it actually, because it's a deep learning model, like it's deeply learning, it actually does respond to politeness. It responds to to threats too. But a lot of times people who aren't really present, they don't even know what questions to ask. And so when you're engaging with it, it really brings you into the present moment. And it actually rewires your brain in a very healthy way. It actually teaches you how to ask questions. It teaches you to be grateful, because one thing you can bank on, it will always give you what you want and even better. It always does. Like, it might take a few, prompting. It might take 1 or 2 things, but it always, you can count on it and you can trust it. And so I'm very grateful. And it, especially for women, because I can't speak for men, but for women who struggle with being seen and asking for what they want and actually even knowing what they desire, when you engage with this, it actually provides in the back and forth clarity. And it frees up a lot of space, and it frees up a lot of time. And sometimes some person we both know, she knows that she wants the answer to something and she doesn't know how to articulate it. And I understand that place. And I learned to be clearer in my articulation with ChatGPT the more I practiced with it. So it's like a muscle in the beginning. It's because you're like, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Did I ask the wrong question? Did I spell it? I guarantee everybody here, it's a million times smarter than we are. Or more. Because you can even type in errors. You don't have to go back and correct it. It knows. So on one way, it can be very scary because it does have access to a lot, but the government already does.
We're already in that paradigm, right? Of where everything's available, most everything's known, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about how the way you use it. You use it to help women develop their business, marketing, strategy, workflows? What else?
Everything. So the women that I work with have already, but it's not limited to that. But the women that I work with have already been in business. And unfortunately, like myself, they invested in business coaches that weren't really business coaches, that actually were women who were masking being a business coach, but really trying to teach like manifestation or energetics or something like that. And I feel like I wanted somebody like me, and it didn't exist. It definitely didn't exist because AI wasn't being used 8 years ago, but I wanted somebody who really wanted to serve people, and I get a real big kick out of women being like, I knew that. I just
Mm.
didn't know how to execute it. So I get a real big kick out of I see the infusion of energy and confidence and clarity and connection. Because I think that there's a lot of murkiness in the business, entrepreneur, coaches, service industry, because people just don't understand that the way to success is having structure in the back end. But the
Yeah.
structure is only 20%. And the 80% is like a lot of fun
Mhm.
and growth and success.
Absolutely.
So I do everything soup to nuts. And even in 1 month, we had just crazy achievements, all of them.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been thoroughly impressed by the fact that once you start using it, it generates so much every time that you are then inundated with information, but it does then give you all the tools you need to begin to execute them, as you say.
Mhm.
So let's talk about you and how you got here. You said you have 4 children. Tell us,
So I had
tell us
chronic
more.
migraine for
Mhm.
35 years. And I had spent 10 years trying to help myself, and that was not working. And then my daughter came downstairs one day, and I was like, and that was it. And it wasn't because I wanted to help her feel better. Of course I did. I just did because I know the migraine and it builds up and it becomes a pattern, and it like it can be a runaway freight train. But honestly, as a mother, I can't stand feeling helpless for my child. So it was very selfish and it was very motherly. Like I wanted to be able to have something to help her. And I wouldn't be able, I can't even imagine like trying to hold space for her and rock her for 2 hours, like, and her just being in pain and me being like, there's nothing I can do. It's not in my wiring.
Mhm.
It's just not. So then I actually remember, I wish I could say it was like some guru or something, but I remember Dr. Phil. Remember when Dr. Phil had his show and like Oprah and like General Hospital? That was all right, dating myself. But and I loved it. And I remember thinking, he said, you always have what you need. So I was like, okay, what do I have? And I had 10 years of like research and development and different kinds of ingredients. And I was just fooling around one night, really. And I made this remedy. And then, of course, I didn't write down the recipe. And it took me
You're
another
just
month.
throwing it together.
Yeah. But when I applied it, it was like 35 years of chronic migraine was gone.
Wow.
And I was like, am I dying? And then it came back, like the pain came back full force. So then the next 6 months, working with it taught me how it works and how to use it for different people in different stages. And then, like a lot of other people, I started making it, I started giving it away. It was getting too expensive. And I really enjoyed it because I really knew it could help people. And my husband was like, after 4 years, he's like, is this a hobby or is this a business? And I was like, no, this is a business. But he was right. It was totally a hobby because I had no business experience. I had no business background. And so then I started hiring business coaches. And then even 6 years into it, I still didn't have the structure that I needed for it. And then, so that's how Migraine Magic was born. And I named it Magic because it's like magic. It's an immediate, healthy migraine pain reliever. But what I came to understand was it really was feeding the nervous system, what it had been chronically missing for decades. And there's a lot of people that have chronic migraines for decades.
Yes. I'm one of them. So
Yeah. How
I
was your
understand.
head 2 days ago?
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So you developed Migraine Magic and created a business around it and then discovered AI. Now, I will share in my experience, I was doing the women's sanctuary, my sacred work, and then got into podcasting. And for a while, they ran side by side,
Mhm.
and I felt a bit compartmentalized until one day I realized that because it's just me, I figured out how to merge them. How did that happen for you? The fact that you're the business and the remedy.
Was definitely a challenge. I felt that way. I have the holistic product line, right? So I started as a migraine coach with the remedy, and then the women got better. Like half of the women in the AI container, like going back 7 years. And then they got better, and then they had a copious amount of time that was occupied by pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, what do you want to do? And they're like, I don't know. Like, I have forgotten. So I just evolved into a transformational coach because I have been doing that anyways, like on myself for 10 years. And then that's what happened. And I did feel torn because I had built a really solid place on Instagram. And at the same time, I wasn't having migraines anymore. And I was starting to work with women who don't have migraines anymore. And honestly, it was a lot more fun. It was a lot more fun then, and I refused to niche down. Like, I just couldn't because it all is part of me. But I still felt compartmentalized because on Instagram, I was just strictly product now. On LinkedIn, I was the migraine expert. On Facebook, I was a transformational coach. And I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really doing much with the migraine over there. And then with AI, I was like, how can I put out all these headaches? Because I have all these tools. If somebody is a businesswoman and she comes to me and she wants to scale her business and she gets migraine, like she's in for a treat because so I don't, I haven't really, I haven't merged the social media, but I have incorporated all of it on my Facebook page. Like it's there. And then when I would market, it would be it would be like the migraine and then the AI and then the migraine and then the AI. And more AI because I'm a lot more excited about that because I've been doing the migraine thing for 10 years now. So that's how I've worked it. But with a lot of women, I definitely see people separate their energetics or their spirituality from the business side. And I think that's really changing because like a lot of women like you and we've shown up.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Or showing up.
Hmm. And honestly, without the back end of the energetics and the spirituality, the structure's dead. It's not magnetic, it's not radiant, it's not, you can't, it's just dull.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely true, because you and the energetics, and I would call it the sovereignty and the authenticity, really, it has to, you have to be true to yourself and create that foundation for yourself in order to bring your work forward.
I think you definitely need both to be successful. Now you do anyways.
Absolutely. The age we're in now, it's, if you're not fully yourself and authentic, it just won't fly. Everybody will feel it.
Yeah, you can see right through it.
But you did talk about merging, and I've seen, and that was one of the most beautiful things I've seen about your work, is that you do merge the energetics with the business, because we are holistic beings in a way that I haven't seen too often. So I'll just say that if anybody wants to work with you, they're going to get a full package, right? They're going to get the structure, the business, and the energetics all. And I think that's my way. That's my preferred way of working.
Yeah. That's how I want to work with people. Because I get bored real easy.
Yes. Yeah. And I will say both you and I are multi-passionates. So that's how we each work.
Mhm.
So we want to talk about, what do you see for AI?
Oh boy. Come here. So when I got a whiff of like my son, I don't know how I ended up over on LinkedIn. I was there, it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
And as fate would have it, I ended up talking to some people over there, and then I ended up hiring like an AI coach, and I started running with the big dogs. Like, but like I was barely holding on. These are like engineers. And when you enter into the world of AI, it is limitless. It's limitless. And it was changing so fast every single day. You couldn't miss a day or you fell behind. And so I hung on for 2 years, and I just was doing what they were teaching, how they were rolling it out, because they were rolling it out as like the AI developers were rolling the stuff out. And the coaches that I was working with were the ones creating the prompting. So I was right in that birthing when I didn't fully grasp everything. I would say I fully grasped everything up until a year and a half ago. And now it's like mushrooms, like the amount,
Yeah.
like everywhere. So I have to pick and choose where I plug into, because if you start looking at everything, then you don't learn anything.
So how would you counsel somebody who wants to get started with it?
I would say, okay, go in your refrigerator and say, act as a act as Betty Crocker, and you have this, and create me a delicious recipe. If somebody wants it for a business, you could do, depending on what, I actually have a bunch of podcasting prompts for you that I just ran into. But you could, if you were looking for a lead magnet, and if you were a podcaster, you could say, act as a seasoned podcaster. And I have Lisa Erickson, I have so and so coming on. This is what she's proficient in. Give me 3 questions I can ask her. And it's gotten so proficient that you do have to read everything over, because it used to make a lot of mistakes, but I'm not seeing a lot of mistakes anymore.
Yeah, I caught one the other day. I can't even remember now what it was. It was just a small fact. Oh, it was a fact about an app that it said didn't have a certain functionality, and on the website it said they did. So I told it. I said, based on my research, it says that this is actually oh, okay, I will update my. So,
Yeah.
but that's rare.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do with it is you can train it on how you speak. If you're professional, your tone, if you're friendly. Like a lot of times when I use it, my trade is I want it to sound like coffee talk in the kitchen between two old school women. That's my tone with a Boston accent.
Love it. I hope, and I'm sure you have intrigued people's interest in either AI or they're raising their hands going, I have migraines. If somebody wants to work with you and reach out to you, how can they contact you? And where can they find you?
So I'm on Facebook. There's the Migraine Magic Facebook, but honestly, just DM me, Lisa Erickson. And I have a bunch of free prompts on that page right now. On Instagram, I'm Migraine Magic 911. And over on LinkedIn, I'm Migraine Magic. So I'm around. I'm findable.
Yeah, we'll have links on the show page. One last question. What is the best piece of wisdom that guides you daily?
I follow my curiosity. I may not be the most intelligent person in the room, but I'm pretty sure I'm one of the most curious. And 90% of the time, it's a positive guiding force. So I think if somebody's curious about something, they should follow it. They should dope it out and not ignore it because it's coming up for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all about listening to yourself and following it. I love that. Yeah, I'm pretty curious too.
Like I love thrift shopping.
Oh, I meant to talk to you about that. Okay, we have to talk about this because I do a lot of thrifting. My mother taught me. It's in my genes. It's in my DNA. But I believe that thrift stores are pure magic. You can
I
find
think
anything
it's
you want.
scientifically proven it's good for your brain because you're curious. It's a thrill. You never know what you're going to find. And if you know how to spot good things that other people don't know are good things, like it's like the biggest little thrill.
Mm-hmm. For me, if I know that there's something that I'm looking for, I will just say I'm looking. Classic example, but it's happened so many times since then. About 10 years ago, I had a number of cats. I didn't have enough cat carriers. I was like, I am not paying that much money for a brand new cat carrier. I would like a new cat carrier, please.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to the thrift store. There it was.
Mine is the vintage glass coffee pots,
Mm-hmm.
the old Pyrex ones. And I used to find them up here in Maine for 50 cents, $3, because I always end up breaking the inside by accident. I've gone through probably 7. And now they're crazy. They're like between 50 and $100, which I'll still pay for it because I love them. And I just it wasn't a thrift shop, it was a vintage shop. And there was one in there for $98.
Wow.
If I can't find one, I'll go and buy it just because it's my thing up here. But yeah.
Love it. Thrift store magic and migraine magic and AI magic. Love
AI is magic. It really is. It can help you with almost anything except for I would not recommend health.
Oh, say more.
But I will tell you, I made my own GBT for migraines and I'm still playing with it and I'm hesitant because I can't control. I can give it parameters and I can program it, but I can't control what it's going to say and I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want to be responsible for somebody's health,
Yeah, you don't want it to be giving health advice. Yeah.
But I'm in this group and there's over 100,000 people, like all different levels of chat, learning how to work with AI. And it's so funny because all the questions they ask, I'm like, you need to ask ChatGPT. Why are you asking us? So it's a mindset shift. You have to, if you're in that world and that's part of your business, It's a whole different way of thinking. And actually, it's self-reliant. It's self-reliant. But this one person posted that a prompt about act as an iridologist. This is so funny. Act as an iridologist, and there was this prompt to diagnose your eyes. So I took a picture of my eyes and I uploaded it to ChatGPT. I don't know if you could do it on 3.5, but on Chat on 4 or 4.0, you could do it. And then I gave it the prompt and the picture of my eyes, and it it gave me a diagnosis.
What's an
Like
iridologist?
like the eyes. If there's,
Oh,
your iris,
uh-huh.
iridologist. So there's different specks and lines in your eye that I guess correspond with
Mm,
like your endocrine glands
yeah.
and fluids, and I don't know, but it corresponds with other
Huh.
parts of your body. And this is a specialty, and people go to iridologists to read like where they're off, or to it like diagnosis health.
And so do you think the information it gave you was accurate?
I think it could have been. I just know enough. I read it. It sounded good. It sounded viable. It was also a little bit vague,
Mhm.
but I was curious. Like, I never thought to take a picture of my eyes and upload it and then prompt it to read my eyes. But
Yeah.
when you're saying, where's it going? Eventually, there'll probably be doctors on
Hmm.
AI doctors.
Wow.
It's replacing marketers, copywriters, brand photographers. It's wild. It's wild.
Hmm.
But it makes life a lot easier. I tell people, when you go in the bathroom, you bring your phone in anyways. And to say you don't, it's a lie. Okay. It's a lie. And you just get on ChatGPT and just while you're sitting there, like it doesn't have to take away. You can just do it nonchalant and ask it a question that you want an answer to, and you're going to get an answer,
Mm.
and it's going to help you. And it's much more than Google or Alexa or anything like that. They're like geriatric compared to what ChatGPT is.
Yeah. Let's end with this. 3 rules for interacting with ChatGPT. I know the one is be polite.
Be polite. You have to give it a command. So you want it to act as
Mhm.
the person you would hire for that thing. So act as a chef, act as a water heater specialist, act as a seasoned podcaster, act as a seasoned or an expert marketer, act as a hypnotic copywriter. So you want to give it like I just said the word and I forgot the word. You want to give it the command.
Okay.
And you want to give it the specialist, the person who would do it. And then, so if you were like, act as a copywriter, write me a paragraph of a Facebook post for my ideal client who are moms between 45 and 60 who need a lead magnet for their new class on podcasting, something like that. So you want to give it the command and you want to give it an example of what you want done. And if you can give it as much information as possible without being verbose, but it can take it. And then the other thing is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try it out. So we'll wrap this up, but honestly, the way I really got into it and I had a ball with it it was the winter and my husband wanted to watch Game of Thrones and I wasn't really into it in the beginning because of the violence, but eventually I got into it and I ended up creating, as I was sitting on the couch in between each what ends and then it goes into the next one. I would sit there and I created like this 2-week Game of Crones, I called it.
Wow.
And I actually asked it to create 2 weeks of content. I asked it to create a quiz. Like, I had crazy engagement. And so just play with it. There's no stupid question.
Beautiful. That's a wealth of information. Thank you, Lisa, for being here and for sharing all you do and your wisdom and your light.
Thanks, Arlia. You too. It's been fun.
So glad you could be here. Thank you for being here with us as well. And you can find us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Also at thewomens'agency.com, who sponsors this show. Thank you for being with us. We will see you here again next time on The Women's Agency. Thanks for joining us. This program is brought to you by The Women's Agency, a full-service podcast production and coaching firm in Atlanta, Georgia. Visit thewomens'agency.com for more.